Om Asato Ma Sargamaya Tamasoma Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Once again, Sairam everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sairam.
Happy Sunday evening. Thanks for joining again. I think we have hit our first year anniversary now. Yeah, we're almost there. We crossed first year anniversary, so we are through there. So today we will be. I think last time last दो sessions से हम लोग सीलिंग ऑन डिजायर डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. So today we will close that topic. तो उसके related में I think we have some of us who will be sharing their thoughts. We have Kabir Bhaiya, Usha Didi, and also Bindu Bhaiya joining us today. So, and in the end, if there are any questions, obviously, the three speakers today can answer, and Siddharth is also with us. We'll all help each other to answer questions, if any, in the end. And the idea is to close the topic today. But if it is still there is continued interest, more questions, it's up to us. We can extend it एक और session भी कर सकते हैं. But मुझे लग रहा है इस session में खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. But let's see. So I think today's session is going to be good because we're going to hear. Not the other sessions are not good, but we're going to hear from many of us who are generally also part of the circle. And Siddharth and I will be mostly witnessing and hearing from all of you. But we'll try and share our thoughts, ideas, some other anecdotes if we feel like it in the middle. So I know Usha is going to speak to us a little bit, and Kabir Bhaiya and then Bindu Bhaiya. So should we start with you, Usha?
Start. Actually, I haven't prepared, so please excuse me if I, falter.
वीडियो ऑन कर ली थी.
You can't hear me.
We can hear you and we can see you. उनका अलग है, ऑडियो वीडियो अलग है, प्रतिभा आंटी.
नहीं, अच्छा तो मैं ऐसे करती हूँ.
हाँ.
मैं इधर क्योंकि मेरे को ईयरफोन डालना था, तो ईयरफोन मैंने फोन में डाला, उसमें डालती हूँ तो बहुत आवाज आती है लैपटॉप में.
ये बेस्ट है, ये बहुत क्लियर है उषा आंटी. I think we can hear you well. We can also see you. This is a very good way of doing
But the voice is a little feeble.
So maybe आपका माइक्रोफोन, if you get a little closer, it'll be great. जहाँ पे ईयरफोन का जो माइक्रोफोन है ना,
otherwise it's fine.
अगर मैं ईयरफोन लैपटॉप में डालती हूँ ना, तो कुछ गर्र आवाज आने लगती है बीच में.
This is pretty good. This is pretty good. I know लैपटॉप वाले में थोड़ा. ठीक है.
Is it okay?
Yeah, so far so good. अगर if we can't hear, we will let you know. But अभी तक तो सब सही.
Should I speak through the laptop then? I put that on mute, the laptop.
नहीं, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है आप सही कह रहे हैं. आपका दूसरे तरीके से जो होता है उसमें there is a lot of disturbance. This is very silent and we can hear you well. So let's start with this.
Plus now Ganpatis are passing by every few minutes, so then you have to make allowance for that.
बिल्कुल. Worries. ठीक है.
Anyway, I'll start. Sairam.
Sairam.
Ibhan ने मुझे बोला कि talk on how I follow Sealing on Desires. So basically, I thought about it that I know Siddharth talked so beautifully and divided desires into two types. One was, I think, acquired, and the other was, what was it? The other one was, which we get from our past births. Siddharth, was it that?
Borrowed and internal. No?
One was acquired. And the other
I'll leave it to others to answer. Let's see how many people remember.
Yeah.
Pratibha aunty said it, I think.
Yeah, internal and borrowed desires. These two.
Yeah, so one must be coming through our past births. I can't get the word right now. But I basically, divided into two parts for myself. One is sattvic and one is asattvic. Of course,
Arre wah.
sattvic is the usual thing, like desire for peace, equanimity, God realization, oneness, even seva that we all know. And us sattvic, of course, we are not going to do something really, really asattvic, but according to me, that is all the materialistic desires which we have, which we all have. So I put that in the asattvic category. So sattvic, I feel Swami will manage because um, it's a good kind of desire, and he has to help me with that. Sattvic is what I have to make an effort about, and so I just thought there are many ways in which I handle it, and एक तो है, the first one is forcibly curb. In that case, what happens is, like, suppose you're not allowed to eat. I've removed my gallbladder. I'm not allowed to eat fried things. I love to eat, but I have to curb that desire. I have to curb. And that kind of thing is a very mundane thing. And like curbing that food. But at the end of it, I feel in control. I feel, that I have been able to overcome it. So it's not a good thing to force, but I feel better at the end of it that, oh, I can do it. And gradually, I don't even feel like having that thing, which I'm trying to, control myself about. So that, getting out of my comfort zone, other things also like that, those I sometimes curb. I sometimes curb forcibly, in the sense that suppose आज मैंने शक्कर कम डाल दी मैंने चाय में, and normally what I would do, I'd get up and add it. क्यों मैं enjoy ना करूं अपनी चाय? I'm very particular about my chai and all. So then chai, I would put shakkar, and then I'll say, oh God, thandi ho gayi. Then I'll again heat it. So all this, but now I try to curb myself and I say, nahi, itni shakkar se kaam chalega. It's okay. And I manage, unless it's absolutely phika. So this is a very basic kind of forcibly curbed type of desire, which I, which I don't really believe in the other kind of desires. दूसरा है understand and curb, how to control my desire. This I learned when I was very young, at a very young age. My father was a government officer, very honest government officer, and very middle class, and couldn't afford too much, but I got everything. I was the only child, so they never really made me, long for something and all like that. But my best friend and neighbor was a businessman's daughter. She was like, they were rolling in money. And my mother, of course, I didn't go to Bal Vikas. She was a Bal Vikas guru, but all Swami's teachings were always there. But sometimes as a small child, one feels that, it was like every 15, 20 days, she would get a new frock, a new dress, which my parents couldn't afford. I was very well dressed, but I could maybe not afford it at that frequency, get something like that. So I never used to really complain, but if my mother, I would inform her, tell her that, Madhu's got a new frock today also, or something like that. So she would say, never, never look at someone that is better off than you and who's getting more than you. See the people who don't even have this much. So that is my, even till now I have enough, more than enough. But it's always that I always try to look at, those who don't even have this much. I've got too much. I can't thank God enough for that. So then automatically wo desire to gayab hi ho jati hai, because when you think of it in that way, that I've got too much, I don't need it. So this is my second way of handling. Third way is surrender when I can't get something. Finally, crib करके, complain करके, कभी-कभी, मन में, बाहर से नहीं तो मन में. I'll tell you a very real life example of mine. Pratibha knows my husband. And I was brought up in a family where people were very extroverted, talking, very, vocal about things. My father would come home from work and discuss everything with my mother. She would tell her, Aji hua, Aji hua, ye hua, ye. If we meet at our family gatherings, talking, chatting, this, that, and I was also quite a chatterbox. And when I got married, my husband is very, very silent. If he doesn't, and that is what attracted me actually. It was an arranged marriage, but I liked his personality, sober. But I came from Delhi. My parents were in Delhi. I came here, I was alone. Whole day, he used to work in L&T. Whole day I was alone. No phones at that time. Even landline I got after a year. And he'd come home, not a word. Not a word. Just hello, hi, and whatever basic. And auntie knows him. Everybody knows him. And he's a gem. And I would say, what happened in office? Kuch khas nahi hua. Again, something else. I would want him to talk to me, but he would. And he would listen to me to my heart's content. Whatever I had to tell him, I can go on. He would, newspaper in front of him, and ha would go on all the time. This used to upset me very much. I said, ये तो मेरी बात भी नहीं करता है, मेरे से सुनता भी नहीं है. What kind of this thing? ये एकदम ऐसे. Do I mean, this was what appealed to me about him, but इतना भी silence क्या, बस आओ और चाय पियो और पेपर लेके बैठ जाओ और हाँ, आपसे तो बात करेगा, and he will tell me only whatever problems he has, but unnecessarily not a word. So I realized that I was feeling very sometimes, lonely. I had come from another town and things. But then somehow Swami helped me and I got busy. Then I got my first child. Then there was no time. I think even if he wanted to talk to me, I wouldn't have the time for him. But now I realize Swami gave me the best thing in the world because I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to be on my own. I want to do my sadhana. He's not the type to come in my way. You do what you like. You want to do this, you do this. I think this desire of mine when Swami didn't fulfill was the biggest favor he did. Because I'm enjoying my life now. Because I'm doing just what I like. He's there, he listens to me for everything. He comes and grumbles, he tells me everything. But unnecessarily, we never talk to each other. And I think Swami knew what I wanted really. That was not what I wanted, what I thought at that time. That was not what I wanted. So this was that surrender, say, God gives you what is right for you. You may not feel he is giving it to you. And then the last way I found was meditation and prayer. What meditation and prayer does is that it just, you don't have to try to do anything. It just drops off. Your desires just fall off without effort. I remember there was a saint who used to come from Himachal to our house. My mother used to stay in a house. And he used to say that, if गांव में जो वो ये जो cow dung के वो लगाते हैं ना walls को खाने के लिए, cow dung के manure बनाने के लिए दीवारों को वो लोग ऐसे थोप देते हैं. What is it called? I don't know. So he says when they are ready और सूख जाते हैं धूप में, अपने आप गिर जाते हैं. There is nothing to be done. They are ready for manure. So it's like that when meditation and prayer, and like I was reading Shirdi Sai Satcharitra yesterday, he said that for desires also to be in control, we need two things, is viveka and vairagya. And I think those two come with prayer and meditation. And then what you feel is that ownership feeling you don't want. You don't want to own something. You don't really want it. Okay, you want it, but after 2 days, it's not going to mean much to you. And I think that's about all. This is the 4 points I noted down that I want to hota hai na, wo ekdam finish ho jata hai when you're into meditation and you take Swami's help and you pray, so that even whatever you get is like a boon. You just feel you're getting extra, and your contentment knows no bounds. I mean, if you get something, you just feel it's too much for you, everything. So this is what I wanted to share, Kibo. Finally, the only solution, the automatic solution is meditation and thinking of Swami and asking for his help. That's all. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच आंटी, थैंक यू।
Saira.
आपने बहुत शॉर्ट में आपने बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टेक्निक्स दे दिए सबको। मतलब आई थिंक इफ एंड एवरीबॉडी इज एट डिफरेंट
10 मिनट
स्टेजेस।
बोला मैंने,
आंटी
10
वो
मिनट बोला मैंने।
आपने इतना अच्छा बोला कि 10 मिनट था, 15-20 मिनट पता ही नहीं चला कितना टाइम था। said it so beautifully.
प्रतिभा ने बोला 10 मिनट मिनिमम बात करना है। I didn't see the time. Thank you. Sat down.
No, that was very nice. I have one question for you already actually. तो जो आंटी आपने बताया ना कि when you initially got married and the silence वाला part जो था, तो आपने उसको surrender में categorize किया। पर मुझे पूछना है, उस समय आपने सच में surrender किया था कि did you do something to fight it? And then अभी तो ठीक है, in the end everything
Fight.
works out. But that time, how did you handle it
fight.
at that?
Fight. बहुत पहले fight. क्या मैं ही बोलती रहूंगी? You will not talk to me. You will not tell me anything. You only want to listen to me. He says, you're good at talking. I'm not good at talking. No, I want to hear. I want to listen to you. It was going on like that. Then I found, what I used to do, I used to get bugged fights. And then I had to make up, or koi hai nahi, I can't sleep without making up with him. Then I used to only think of his beautiful points. He's like, he's not saying Swami all the time. He's not spiritual that much, but he's a gem. And I think he needs less effort than me. So I used to think of, wow, he's so good in this, he's so good in that, he's so good in this. So that positive uski cheezein soch ke mujhe ye kuch bhi nahi lagta tha. Because he used to show his love for me in other ways, but he didn't know how to talk.
Beautiful.
That's
So
all.
I think more importantly, that time you had the wisdom to focus on the good things and take your mind in that direction versus
that
just
may be
focusing on the wrong.
that was because of my parents little, always don't keep harping on the, of course for hours I used to be annoyed with him because I was annoyed for many hours sometimes, and then but he thought, what have I done wrong? He hasn't done anything wrong. And it was not wrong as such. It was just, I expected something which was not his way, and his way is equally right as my way. I realized later that his way is even more beautiful. Not that my way is wrong, but his way was even better. And now I realize, I tell everyone, Naresh is the right person for me. God knew it, because I have to concentrate on my sadhana. God knew she'll do this. She needs silence. She needs quiet. She doesn't need a very, outgoing husband who'll take her to parties, who'll take her here. It was absolutely that. And I told him today that I'm going to talk about this. So but Pratibha knows very well what he is like.
Right. No, again, thank you. But before we go to Kabir, I wanted to ask everybody, any other thoughts? Anybody else wanted to share something about Usha Didi's points and stories? And any thoughts? Anybody else?
I think very simple way of achieving a lot. She's achieved it in a very simple way, and really kind of, I think that's the right way.
That Swami's been with me, that's why. Otherwise, it's not easy. There have been lots of challenges, but it's always Swami.
Correct.
So you're right. It's simple, and I think everybody would agree. All Swami's teachings are simple also, but I think the implementation piece of it is difficult. So there, some of us are in different stages of that journey. Right. Thank you. Anybody else wanted to say something?
Who had raised his hand?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that very beautifully, I think you have just summed up the whole crux of it. And very important is जब आप ये कह रहे थे कि मुझसे बात क्यों नहीं करते या क्यों नहीं होता, आई थिंक दिस रेजोनेट्स विद ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ अस. वी ऑल हैव got these dialogues in some phase of life, but in your case, I think the Swami inside Brother Naresh was listening to that, and possibly all the questions have now got answered in the period of time. The questions are same maybe, but is now to Swami, talk to me, through meditation. So आपने रुख बदल दिया है, और जो साहिल है वो अभी भी वही है, जो मंजिल है वो अभी भी वही है.
Questions were always there, and I could ask him at any time. I could talk to him at any time. He was open to it. There was nothing like not answering my questions. It was not, it was like I was a talkative person basically. And he was not. He wanted to just be quiet. That used to, that desire to keep chatting. And, there are many things like that. But then I never realized that I want to be quiet. Finally, there will come a time that I don't want to talk. And I can't tell you that when we finally, it was difficult, but the best part was I got a child very soon. So that made me busy. So I didn't have much time to brood over that also. That also helped.
Right, beautiful. I think the one more comment that we have, and after this probably we can move to Kabir Bhaiya, is that acceptance. I think is Meenu auntie, she's saying acceptance with least resistance and a positive attitude, and learning to respect the other person's values, priorities. Wonderfully put. So again, thank you, Shanti. So then moving forward, Kabir Bhaiya, do you want to share some thoughts?
I think I won't share I don't have much to discuss, but I can tell you an incident which had seriously affected my life, and I was kind of able to overcome that and actually find success. So it was something which had troubled me quite a lot, and I was able to overcome that. So I think that's what I would like to share. Of course, desires come in various forms and at various ages. It could be sports, it could be studies, it could be lust, it could be money, anything. And at various stages of life, So, but I don't think I've achieved anything. I have not resolved or overcome any desire, because if I would be, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be in this meeting. I would have achieved it and not be there. So I think that fight is still going on, very much involved in life, very much a part of this world, attractive world. I've realized that even if I like the sunset and sunrise every day and I die to see it, that is also a desire. So the world is attractive in so many ways. But anyway, let me just tell you something which has kind of, I was able to go to basics and help. Actually, I was able to conquer certain things. So I had lost my parents in 96 and 97, both my parents. And I was very young that time, it changed overnight. Both my parents suddenly passed away. And of course, Baba has been blessing me with dreams and all those things. So it has kind of helped me out. Yogananda ji has helped me out. And things were very tough that time. So my career got delayed. I was, parents have passed away, and I see my friends and neighbors, getting into good jobs, getting into good firms, succeeding very fast, getting married. And I'm still struggling with overcoming the grief and solving financial issues of the family, and still trying to start my career. I didn't start my career for almost 3 years. And then you meet, your neighbors' mothers who kind of gloat and say that मेरा बेटा तो foreign जा रहा है, उसने engineering किया है, अभी तो वो USA जाने वाला है. मेरी बेटी को देखो ऐसा job मिला है. There's no one to cry, and there's no one to look around. And luckily I had Baba, and I used to cry in front of his picture every day. And this has been my practice since years. I talk to him alone and seriously talking. And of course, most of you must have experienced that Baba's eyes either fill up with tears and you can actually see wet eyes or a smile or of that sort, and then he talks to you in dreams and guides you and loves you. So that's all I had to do. I used to come home and feel lost, miserable, totally, and say that, and you start comparing. ये लोग 3 साल आगे निकल गए, मैं तो अभी पीछे हूँ. So your desires are developing, and you kind of wonder where you are going to go. Now I met Baba physically. I met him only once in 1998 in Dharmashetra, where I had my mom had also passed away, and I had cried a lot, and I gave a letter to Mrs. Banatwala, Munira auntie, and she took it to Baba and gave it to him. And she said, "What did you write?" I said that I had written, "Please come to Bombay." And he actually came. She said, because he's never taken a letter in so many years from me. So if he's taken, he will come. I was lucky to meet him for 4 days. Got selected to make the announcements at Dharmashetra, which was by mistake. Instead of Kabir Dugar, Kabir Malkani reached there. Nobody asked me my surname, and I was there. And at the last minute, they realized they made a big mistake. Everybody realized that it was the biggest mistake they made. Of course, thanks to God, after that they were very happy with me. But so that's what happened. Now, only once Baba came close to me, and he had told me in my dreams, I will not see you this close. He showed me that he is paying attention to others, and he did exactly the same. So he didn't allow me near him, but he used to stand every day and look at me. And one of the days he walked into the room, and few other devotees were there. And I touched his feet, and I was shocked to see him so close. Never been, except in dreams, I had not seen him, but to physically see such a short man with beautiful hair looking at me, and he's looking at me, glaring at me. And I'm giving him this letter in which I've got this list of desires. Job, acha job chahiye, acha ye chahiye. I'm handing that letter to him. And he glares at me. He looks at me with such fierce eyes and grits his teeth. I got frightened. I just put the letter back in my pocket and I said, shit, now if he pulls me up in front of everybody, he'll embarrass me also. And then, of course, we were supposed to sit in the hall later on. And I was waiting, I sat there and I suddenly find Baba comes and I'm scared to look up because the way he has looked at me. And his feet stop right at me, and I look up and I see he is looking down at me like this. And Chandan was there, and other my friends were there, and they said, "Kya hua?" Because this went on for a minute or so, and he's glaring at me. And I'm thinking, I hope he doesn't open his mouth because this is going to be seriously embarrassing. Our embarrassing secrets are going to be out in public. So anyway, nothing happens, and life carries on. And I start feeling better that I've met him. Then after a few months, Baba shows me a dream. He shows me that me and my brother are in a bullock cart. Now this bullock cart has this shade, how they show in the olden days, ek shade rehte upar se. And he tells us sit, and he starts driving the bullock cart. So I say, wow, okay. So we are sitting behind, and we are going in a bullock cart, and he's driving it. Slowly it starts flying in the air. And people we go in there, and I see a lot of men in black suited ties, very well dressed in large limousines, those big cars, dark cars, and everybody's looking at us in awe that we have gone up in the air. It's a bullock cart, and they are all, I can see those financially set people in life who are very well settled and everything. And Baba's taken us up, and he's leading our lives. So I relax, I start thinking, okay, now I'll get that dream job. I'll get that, and things are resolved, it's coming, it's happening. And I'm going to Dubai to stay with my brother, and things are going to get resolved. It doesn't. It's still not happening because something has to be some incident has to happen. So I was still not finding solution, and I had found an ordinary job in Dubai, and I was still traveling back to Bombay up and down because Dubai is quite close, 3 hours away, so you can just catch a flight and come down. Then one day I happened to read an article in Reader's Digest that a man who has lost everything, because I'm seeking an answer, how to calm my mind, how to adjust with myself. And this man is in US, he has lost everything, and he has written an article. And he says the simplest line. He says, you have to relive your dreams. start again, develop new dreams. Don't have the dreams which you had. So all you need to do is kind of relive your dreams, see new things in your dreams. And so after I read, and he said that how he had adjusted in life and how he led a different life after that. And because he led a different life means financially or economically a different life, but he had attained peace, he had calmed himself down. Now when I finished reading it, I was crying bitterly, and reality had hit me. The reality was that I was not going to be the Kabir or somebody who had to achieve what I had to achieve in life. It was going to be different for me. And I cried because I realized that's the truth. It is not going to be the same, what I had thought of. And I also realized this feeling has come not because of thinking, it has subconsciously become like a magnet in the body itself, inside. It is not something which I have consciously thought. It has just sunk in. Somehow I've changed. And that's why I couldn't face the reality. Luckily, my father had taught me, that wherever you go in life, keep on going back to your old place where you were born, to your old society, to your old friends. And we had a humble beginning. So that had become a gap because mom and dad had passed away. So that going back to the original house, meeting old friends, meeting old people who had seen me as a child had stopped. So I decided, okay, I'll start going back. And I remembered what my dad had taught me. So I went back to my old society, and I actually do that even now. I go back, I walk down the lane, I catch a bus. I don't want to go in a rickshaw. I want to catch a bus, walk down those lanes. And I'm in this lane where, you find hens moving, pigs going across, potholes are there. You meet your old guy who used to lend you a cycle for 2 rupees. You go through those shops, you meet those boys who carried you as a child. You of course find it very funny. You're a big man and they used to carry you when you were young. And then I went to my old society, started meeting my friends, and I realized one thing: they are still very happy. And they are in smaller homes, and which was once upon a time my home. And I found that they still had a big smile. I had lost everything. I had lost even my smile and peace of mind. I realized that मेरे को वो नहीं मिल रहा है जो इनके पास है. And I made it a habit of going back, to this. And I realized that just by living in a different environment economically, one has these subconscious things coming on because he sees what the neighbors are getting, what the neighbors are doing, and it seeps in so secretly. It doesn't even, you may not consciously live it. You may still have those values. You'll still go to Dharma Kshetra. You'll still help a person, but somehow you have still changed just by staying in another environment. And it comes in very dangerously and slowly. And suddenly I realized, oh, I'm not going to get this. I'm going to get that original thing. So I learned my lesson, and due to which then, because I was able to meet these people again, I was able to curb these deadly dangerous desires which had seeped in of bigness or greatness or financially. Again, I'm talking of financially and economically. I'm not talking as in terms of anything else. And I realized that Baba taught me, one day I realized that Baba taught me a lesson that all the adjustment is between 1 foot, between your heart and the mind, how you adjust. This distance is all you require to adjust yourself. You don't require anything else. जो भी है ये दोनों चीज के बीच में ही है. And another incident is that which is totally different, which I felt that I was going to get into a trap, but Baba kind of protected me well in advance. So one day in a dream, he shows me that I'm in a room. There's a glass cage and there are a lot of celebrities moving around, and he is carrying a camera. And I'm there's a glass cage, a room maybe about 8-9 feet in length, maybe about 4 or 5 feet in depth, and there's a window and there are people moving around. They look celebrities. And there, in the center of the room, there is another glass kind of a thing, and there's a small stage which is of just 1 foot. And he's collecting all the celebrities and saying, okay, stand, I have to take a photo. And he says, you come. I say, me? Yeah, you come. Stand. He takes a photo. Okay. I don't understand what it is, and all his dreams are very real, very, very, as if you have seen it and you have come back. Now, after years, I get into retail, I come to Dubai, and something strange happens which I never expected. I start handling Bollywood. I launched so many stars over here, and I moved in entire Middle East region, kind of launched in 27, 28 movies, 75 celebrities, name it. It was all there. But I had lost my, except for promoting myself, which I have to commercially, but I had lost, and I really didn't feel much inclination the way everyone else around me felt about it. And that had happened because of the dream I saw. That had killed everything, because I remembered Baba's dream that the stage is actually very small and he's the photographer. He decides what is happening, he decides who gets the fame, and he decides the nature of life. Because that dream was so strong, I realized that वो उसमें कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ, एंड आई ऑलवेज न्यू कि ये चीज जाने वाली है, बिकॉज बाबा ने ड्रीम में दिखाया है कि थोड़ा टाइम आएगी और हाथ से निकल जाएगी. सो there is no ready-made formula for killing desires. There is no ready-made for, and it catches you so unsuspectingly. It catches you so calmly, so sweetly. It doesn't come in a harsh way. It catches you very calmly and sweetly. It's very dangerous, but I think the only way is talking to God, reading his stories every day. I can only read few books, and I don't not read many books, but reading these few books and talking to him every day and just doing your basics right, I think that's the only way out of this kind of trap which is there. Sairam.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Right.
Very, very beautifully put, Bhaiya. You said so many like hard-hitting dialogues. I don't know, since you mentioned Bollywood dialogues is coming to me. इतने मस्त चीजें बोले आपने. I think if we can remember even some of them, very, very beautiful put, because I think you have spoken about a vast expanse of time in your life, and the crest jewel of learning you shared with us. So I think this was very fortunate for all of us to also listen to these things and see, the best of that full experience came out. We're lucky to listen the things like, I think even on the chat, thing Meenu auntie has said things like distance between heart and the mind, and those are things which you just mentioned off like that, but they're like topics in themselves, and and very, very very, very hard hitting, and these kind of things stick to you. And the dream you mentioned about the bullock cart, and how, and there are so many levels of meanings in that, and not very many people remember such things. More importantly, I think the biggest takeaway for me at least was, in all of these things that you mentioned, Swami's dreams and everything, you were able to apply a lot of that. Like even Usha and jise bata rahe the pehle, and some of it is your own, hard work, wisdom, and at that time your thought, some of it is past janmas, but to be able to have that application ki Swami ka dream aaya tha, aur usko, in a over a period of time, or in your career, applying it and having that mindset, that is special. I think not all of us can do that.
No, I think what is, I see two things. I lost my parents. I can see, people can see it as a terrible thing. It was also my best time. It was also my best time, because the number of dreams I've seen, and today I can openly say, and Auntie Munira auntie knows about it. Baba had even told me when my parents will pass away. And to the extent that me and my dad discussed what I should do after he passes away. So a lot has happened, and of course, there's much more to it after that. What happened, but they started 7-8 years before that, and I think while I was left, people saw it that "Arey, ye doob gaya," but at that time, Baba and Yogananda ji were so much every day into my life, even before that. That dreams after dreams, and he was there all the time. So I think that throwing you into that terrible fire, but I was able to be with him, and he was. I have to thank. I mean, that's. I always tell my daughter, and I tell very few people. I said, success if you want in life, you have to think of God, because he is the smartest businessman. He's the smartest doctor. He's the smartest finance guy. He's the smartest. If you look at him as an old, weak man, you'll not get anything. But trust me, he's the smartest guy out there. And through Baba only, you will get everything. Because he runs. He runs a lot of things. So yeah, he's been there. He's still there. He still
Absolutely.
tells things.
No, very wonderful, very wonderful. I think this was, I was telling you, the point I was trying to complete there is, आपको आया dream, आपने सब, and as you mentioned, you've seen Baba, met him only once, and then rest of it through dreams. But applying that and having that constantly in your mind is very important for some of us. जैसे स्वामी ने एक ड्रीम में आके स्पेसिफिकली बोला हुआ है मुझे, या फिर आई थिंक मेघा को, माय वाइफ, कि आस्क हिम टू ईट स्लोली. मुझे बोला था एक्चुअली, हाँ मैंने शेयर भी किया था यहाँ पे कि धीरे खाओ, इट शुड बिकम वाटर. डायरेक्टली बोला है. Some of us he tells directly, even in person, कि ये करो, and still we don't do it. पता नहीं मतलब क्या उसमें स्वामी only saying something here. Indirectly he has told you, he has given you indirect meanings, and you're able to apply that. So I think that's very wonderful, inspiring for all of us. So thanks for sharing. I think I don't want to say more here. Anybody else wants to share some thoughts about Kabir Bhaiya's thoughts and his experiences, or anybody wants to say something?
I just thought that, like he said, that was not the worst time for him. Now he can say when he thinks about it, because it's always the worst periods in your life. Like that story when God is actually carrying you in his arms.
Yeah.
That's what he experienced that. Yeah. We do always, later on we feel, maybe at that time we're not aware, but it's really true. That was very beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's God's grace. I think I had nobody to look for. I had no human to look for. So I was staying in that same house where parents passed away. Brother was in Dubai, and of course, relatives, neighbors, all have been good. But अपना जो होता है वो ही था जो whom I could talk to and relate to and cry out to. So I was dependent only to him. And I think that was a saving grace.
Beautiful.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. I know we have Bindu Bhaiya's section next, but we don't have enough time, Bindu Bhaiya. So I'll leave that to you. आपको आज start करके, you want to continue next time, या फिर you think we should just take up some questions randomly and then we can, just.
Yes. I would say that, yeah, that's a very nice way of doing it, concluding today, because otherwise it will stretch a bit more. And
next time we can pick up
the soulful session that has gone on with Kabir brothers, putting it, and Usha auntie putting it, I think it has its flavor. Let's get absorbed in that. For me, one of the very important things also, what Brother Kabir said, is the choice to be with Bhagwan, or Bhagwan has picked him. So the choice was very conscious. It was not a helpless choice. And that's where we, at the crossroads, we take choices. He was doing his business, Bollywood and all the stuff very great. And that's the time when one dream, and he chooses to go with that. And that's an important part of grace, where we should not take the ownership of the decision. And this is where he took it. And the life rest is all history. So I think it's a very important lesson. We all come to such crossroads where we get these choices, and unfortunately we fail to take the right choice side with the divine, and we go more on the dosa than the divine. So I think Brother Kabir, thanks for sharing it. It was a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Kabir, you already answered Meenu question there, so thanks for doing that. So in general, maybe last 10 minutes we have. Why don't we discuss some more in general? If there are any other questions that have come up based on whatever we have discussed last couple of sessions, या फिर based on today's experiences that Usha Aunty and Kabir we have shared, ऐसा कुछ, is there anything else troubling us in our mind that we want answers for? ऐसा कुछ है या everything is sorted? क्या? Anything you want to talk about? We have, yes, Aarti Aunty.
Hi Ram, happy birthday Ashu.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Ashu.
Okay. Actually, I have not attended the previous 2 sessions, but even as you're practicing sealing on desires, there are some points in your life where a desire comes as obsessive because of your state of mind. Sometimes when you're feeling low, you will deliberately go and eat lots of food or do something that you would not do otherwise. You are very much in control, but when your emotion is ahead of you, sometimes some desires go out of the roof. So is there any way that at that point we can still exercise a sealing on our desires, or can we balance that situation so that we don't go overboard, which is caused by emotion?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
What happens is we progress in life, but spiritually and many other ways, but it's important to go back to the basic roots. I don't know why, but it works like magic. Go to very basic habits. I always go back to the basic habits taught by my parents. They may be very simple and they may look not important, but if you are able to identify them, whatever you have learned as roots, and forcefully practice only those, you are able to tackle the larger things. Larger automatically handle हो जाता है. वो basic को पकड़ना जरूरी है. The एकदम simple वाले जो चीज होती है.
एक आध example share करें Kabir भैया, so that it becomes even more clear for us.
If you ever want to ask what you are, you should ask your old maid or you should ask your old servant, and because they come from a very humble background, they'll be able to tell you, because I have a maid who has worked with me for 25-26 years, so we have grown up together. So suppose she tells me, Bhaiya, ye tumne kaise kiya, I realize if she is telling me, then there is some problem. Because if anybody else feels it's fine, they are blind. She can see far deeper than what anybody, because people with grassroots, at grassroots levels, one needs to mingle more with them, because they bring you back to, they are far more in control of life because they see more difficulties than us. So sitting with them, chatting with them, being friends with them is more important. Not only it should be a natural way of life, but these people can help us better, not us. They can help us far better. So if you can work with them, be with them, and they can give you feedback, or you can, because you learn to behave like them. They have a smile. I see people who are, Bai jo aati hai ghar pe, she has a bigger smile with all her problems. So it's better to learn from her and be patient with her, because it works better. That is how I can just explain.
So one, I think what I'm hearing is we discussed about borrowed desires and internal desires. Kaise, we've been talking, Aarti Aunty, just for your benefit, desires 2 types ke hai, briefly touched upon even today. I think the solution I'm hearing from Kabir Bhaiya that his work for him is borrowed inspiration. And if there is internal inspiration that we get based on our own habits and meditation and all that, but you can also borrow inspiration sometimes from other people and see, what that can help you. But yeah, at the end, I'm not sure if that completely answers. But if you have, but even others, if they want to, pitch in to Aarti Auntie's question, feel free to pitch in there.
I can add
I think
something.
you mute, but आप कुछ कह रहे थे
I will, Hanji, I will just throw one more question out there, so everybody can just address that together. This is very specific with regard to me. Okay. I really rarely feel the need for anything, rarely. And I feel that is being apathetic, because there is no goal, you're not working towards anything, because you don't, So I'm just wondering, this is not exactly sealing on desires. So if someone can please just throw light on this, because कुछ ऐसा लगता ही नहीं है कि नहीं नहीं ये चीज होनी चाहिए. Maybe one or two things, but by and large nothing. So I am just wondering now whether it is in line with Swami's teaching, or it is just plain apathy or something like that. So please, if you could just look at both these things. Saira.
Thank you for sharing, Auntie. I think somebody was starting to speak last time when I spoke. So if they want to continue, or very interesting point, actually, very interesting question. I think a lot of us go through that. So anybody wants to please share some thoughts here, any wisdom for us?
I was sharing on to the previous point that she was making. The latest one, I could not understand fully what is the question. So maybe you can help us with that. But the previous one, we all come in the crossroads where what I understood from the question is when you are on the verge of, on the desire and its consummation and finally getting into it, how do you come out of it, or you avoid it? Again, it is about, it's about discriminating between the need and wants. And then secondly, as Swami has said, if we don't need it, if it is more of a greed than a need, that's one point which becomes a filter in our action further. It so happened I was telling my sister, my living room TV has got now 30% of black, that magnetron you can see is gone. So you can still see 70%. So Swami sometimes, his right side is orange and the left side becomes gray, because of the display. So you can hear the voice. Now there are two choices. I have another one in bedroom. So I was almost going to buy it. I went to a couple of malls just to see through it. And then this particular thought at that crossroad, maybe Swami prompted that. I mean, is it need that you should have a 2 TV right now because you're just almost alone and wife is in India, and these things started coming in. So what? Again, your intellect has to play the charioteer part. This is how I do it. When I come to very distressing times, I let the intellect take over and then monitor. So you allow the mind to do the window shopping, to move around, and then you take the final decision after having done and exhausted and come back. No, it is not necessary because the TV is running and there's no point. So that's how I avoided almost the buying of the second TV, and I said I will not do it till I get the other one also bad, So I feel it is a very strong conviction that you should have whether we need it or not. If we have that conviction and we don't have double standards like we have judging somebody else and judging ourselves with a different standard, I think Swami will help us to stick on with the conviction that it's just a want, it's not a need. So I could avoid with that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bhaiya. Aarti, I'm guessing that was for the first question. So second question, since agar kisi ko samajh mein nahi, I think what you are trying to say is कि sealing on desires is one thing. कि you are consciously अपने वो state of mind आ गया. But Auntie saying कभी-कभी क्या होता है कि कुछ करने का इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं होता है. जो आपने वाली पॉइंट है कि you don't feel like यानी कुछ desire ही नहीं आता, कुछ है ही नहीं, बस बैठे रहो. You don't feel anything. So is that good? Is that on Swami's track? Her question is, या फिर should we do something about it? Is that right, Auntie? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think a little of both, Ashu. Sometimes you just feel that you don't need anything, and sometimes it is less of listlessness and more of you really don't feel that you need anything with that much of a craving, barring, yes, one or two things, not completely sainthood. So, what is that exactly? That cannot be a ceiling on desire, because you're not feeling the need for anything.
Any thoughts? Anybody would like to share something?
It could be a thing that you don't really require much, because see, getting angry and controlling anger is not controlling anger, but the absence of anger itself is control on anger. So if you don't have a desire, it means there's already a control or a tab on it. I read about one of Baba's devotees who used to live in Bottaparthi, a great scientist who was supposed to travel abroad, and he's been living 40-45 years in Bottaparthi in one room. And he gave up everything, gave up his family the moment he saw Baba. And he was staying in a room, and he never used to get fees while teaching. He said education is free. I mean, he was teaching free, and he was also eating food only in the canteen, the same food for 40 years, 50 years. Baba met him only 3 or 4 times, and he used to get his shirt and pant when Baba used to donate something. That's where he used to collect, and all he had was one soap and comb and needle and one iron to take care of his life. When I finished reading that book, I actually got lot of tension and lot of depression, because depression हो गया पढ़ के कि कोई ऐसे actual depression and bad feeling, because हमारे पास गाड़ी है, टीवी है, नेटफ्लिक्स है, खाना पीना है, घूमना फिरना है। अभी तो मैंने बहुत सारा दुनिया देखा नहीं है, तो वो सब डिजायर्स है, एंड ये सब चीज छोड़ के एक रूम में एक he actually had a string in which he used to hang clothes, sleep on the floor, one tap, one soap, one this. Relatives had forgotten him, and all he used to do was come out, do work for Baba, and go back and teach the students. And खाना भी कैंटीन के ऊपर जो मिला, कपड़ा भी जो बाबा ने दिया. So that is really kind of given up on everything. So you may actually be on the right way. I don't see that as wrong.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the other comment on the chat which you have seen at the end is this could be some form of contentment you're experiencing. So that's another
Okay.
point of view. Anybody else would like to throw some light in the same direction or something else to help Aarti auntie here?
Thank you so much, Ashu, Kabir. Thanks.
No worries. Siddharth, today you've been silent. Any thoughts? We are almost at time. Just wanted to make sure if you have any thoughts to share on this question or in general.
Ashu, the examiner, is always silent from behind.
Yeah.
Silent, brother.
Thank you, Binduji.
Examiner is here. He is listening. He is always silent, watching everybody.
Yes, yes.
Today he asked me to remain quiet. He said, "Let's listen," because I've spoken so much. I said, now it's time for me to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Any that before we close, or anybody actually, any other final questions, comments here?
I think just one thought, 2-3 thoughts. In fact, I was just taking mental notes of all the experiences that everybody was sharing. I think coming to Usha Auntie's beautiful analogy of that cow dung cakes, which are put on the wall and getting dried out, and it falls apart. So, which is where very frequently I've heard Paramahamsa Yogananda's saying on this. He says, just remove everything that caused a particular desire, so that eventually it'll get dried out and fall off. Remove everything that led to the cause of creating that desire, whatever desire you want to eliminate. Remove the causes of it. Eventually, वो सूख के गिर जाएगा. This is exactly it came to my mind when you were giving that cow dung cake experience or analogy. So that is one way of doing it, by Paramahamsa Yogananda who has given this. Any desire which you want to eliminate, identify what is the cause of the desire, and just remove it. Don't allow it to happen. धीरे धीरे वो सूख के गिर जाएगा. Second, in case of Kabir's experience, 2 things. One is comparison actually causes a lot of problems in our life. Okay, we don't realize it. All of us do it unconsciously. We are trained to do comparison right from our childhood, because when we are kids, when we don't eat food, parents say, "Dekho, wo bachcha tumse aage nikal jayega. You need to be, finish. You should be the first one to finish than the other child." So comparison is planted in our DNA, unfortunately, though the intention was pure, but it's there, it continues in our life. And Swami exactly says the opposite. He says, comparison karo, lekin khud se karo. How I am today as compared to yesterday, or how I'm today, this September versus September 2020, since we have 1 year. So it's a good homework for us to see after 1 year of study circle, how are we today as compared to what we were in September 2020 last year. So that comparison gives you the progress, because everybody's circumstances are different. Everybody's karmas are different. We spoke a lot about karmas in 3 sessions. People come with a prarabdha karma, which is tremendous positive thing that happened to them in terms of limousines and nice houses and everything. But that's a prarabdha karma which they are reaping. In your case, it may come little delayed, but it come to you. But the best thing is the circumstances are different. So best is to compare within our own self. How am I today versus what was in the past? That is the best way to kind of shift our comparison with others to ourselves. Second is that the dream of bullock cart, it gives a very important message. Is a bullock cart represents a small house or middle class. Okay, this is my interpretation. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong or if it is useful to you.
No, it is correct.
So middle class, it represents middle class or lower middle class, whichever way. And limousine down the line, established people are obviously the high class or so-called high class. So irrespective of whichever place we are, if God is with us, we'll always be on the high. So a bullock cart, we may look like a middle class or lower middle class condition, but because God is there with us, we are on the high. And that's what Swami probably was telling us through that dream, that you are higher, you are flying, your bullock cart is flying as compared to the limousine which are on the ground. And that's why there's a beautiful saying which says, in the race of life, if you have God with you as a company, then it becomes grace of life. So grace of life is basically if you have God with you, wherever you are, you may be middle class, lower middle class, higher middle class, you'll always be on the high. And that's a beautiful lesson. Probably I carry on personally today with that example that you shared. I may live in a half room or a 1 room, a frugal life, but God is with me. I will always be at the best place. It doesn't matter. My satisfaction, my happiness is more with whether God is with me or not. That's a parameter for personality, us. Coming to the third, the question about what Aarti Aunty said, a lot of us go through those cycles where suddenly the desires, so-called desires, disappear. This is my personal interpretation. I could be right or wrong, but I also went through at different stages of life. And that is a time when we meet with lethargy, we feel little down, we feel there's nothing to achieve, and we feel little kind of off track. And sometimes it gives us a bit of frustration and lethargy and some kind of agitation that, what's happening? I'm not enjoying life. I'm not in it. I don't know if those are the additional symptoms of that stage, then it's not sealing on desires. Sealing on desires, as Swami says, it should accompany the symptoms of peace. Tremendous peace, calmness, contentment. If those are the symptoms accompanying that stage, then it is sealing on desires. We are actually moving on the very beautiful royal road of divinity. But if the other side happens where you get lost into the world, you don't know what to do, and mind becomes blank. There is no desire to excel. There is no desire to perform. And which Vivekananda says, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. That goal itself is not visible to me. And I'm not enthused anything to do anything further. So that lack of enthusiasm actually is a negative side. That means it's a cycle of life or a stage of life. So, sometimes we hit it at adolescent stage. Most of us, when we become from childhood to adulthood, that adolescent stage is the confusing stage where the mind doesn't know what to do. New things happen. Then obviously at the mid 40s, that stage comes, mid 30s, that stage comes, mid 50s. So at different stages of life, we get variety of those cycles. If they are those cycles, then it's not, because they will taper off. Eventually the desires will come back. But peace, enthusiasm, and contentment, if these are the symptoms, I think then sealing on desires, we are on the right track. Because, enthusiasm word is coming from the word enthos. Enthos means to be in union with God. If you are really full of life, full of energy, full of happiness, that means you're actually in tune with God. So if that stage is there, and I don't have any desire because I've achieved God, I've got God in my life. Probably the person whom Kabir was talking about in Parthi 40 years, he has got what he wanted. And that's why the frugal life is no longer control for him. It is natural extension. He doesn't need it anymore. So if that enthusiastic sense is there within, then I think peace, contentment, these are the important symptoms of that stage. Then we are really progressing on the great broad road of sealing of desires. I don't know if it answers your question, but just thought to share that point. And one last piece is this I came across just 3 days ago. I think maybe Swami was feeding me these ideas. Very beautiful. One disciple was asking his guru, I think we have exceeded time, but give me a 1 minute or so. I'll just conclude with this. That's a problem. If you allow me to speak, it goes 15, 20 minutes more. That's a bad side of making me speak. But anyway, I'll just give that one line and then, conclude. One disciple was asking Guru that what is the difference between moksha and death, or, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मृत्यु और मोक्ष के बीच में क्या फर्क है, death and liberation. The Guru beautifully answered in one line. He just said, if your breath, अगर आपकी सांसें बची है और desires खत्म हो गए, then वो मोक्ष है. If your breaths, count of breaths are still there and you don't have any more desires, you have achieved moksha. Whereas आपकी सांसें खत्म हो गई and you still have desires, that is death. That is mrityu. Because now you will have to take another set of, birth for another set of breath for you to complete those desires. So that's a clear demarcation. If your breath is still there, सांसें अभी भी है लेकिन कोई desires नहीं है, I have achieved moksha. If my सांसें खत्म हो गए and I am actually leaving the world with still desires there, then that is a death. And I'll have to go back to the cycle of next birth to complete those. So the conclusion is that, as many possible, either we fulfill those desires, but that's the story which, that's a road Swami doesn't recommend, because desires begets another set of desires. So one is kind of controlling, not even controlling, rather let it fall off as the, cow dung cakes are. And then eventually we'll, kind of leave the world very peacefully, very calm, without any expectations anymore. So, this is the thing which I just thought. There are many more thoughts which still, coming to my mind to share, but time is up. Maybe some.
I think that's nice, because we also have the next session on 3rd. I think we'll do it now first Sunday of next month, and Bindu Bhai will also share. So we can. This is very stimulating, and thanks everybody. Because of more participation, the discussion gets so much more diversified. So let's keep that coming. And next week we can also, after Bindu Bhai's presentation, we can also take up some more questions. This was great food for thought for the next couple of weeks. I think हम सब के पास बहुत कुछ है आज लेके जाने के लिए. Very nice takeaways and nicely summarized by Siddharth. So one final check. Any burning comments to make? Any burning questions? Otherwise, we'll finish with Samastaloka. All right, looks good. I think we have one less desire of a question today. So let's finish with Samastaloka and depart from here. Samastaloka sukhino, Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu, Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right, Sairam everyone.
Sai Ram, thank
Jai
you.
Ram, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.